Hey, Charles.
Hey Dan, Felix. Hello there. Just finishing up some food. Gonna cut the stream while I do it. But otherwise, great meeting today. Looking forward to the meeting.
I like your background. It looks clean.
Oh, brand new background, shiny new one. What is EOS respect? What are you up to at EOS support? Who knows? More announcement coming soon.
It sounds very enticing and very interesting, exciting.
Now we're very excited. We're working on some pretty things for the EOS community. Very excited about it. Can't wait to share it with everyone.
Awesome. I'm expecting it to be really cool, especially judging from your background and then all your other work with EOS support. I think it's gonna be awesome. And also, I just realized that your EOS support squads are on the YouTube channel too. I never realized that before. But I'm looking forward to watching those. Hey, Patrick. And hey, Ben, too. I don't know Ben.
Thanks for the praise. Always appreciate it, Dan. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. And thank you for joining and sharing that teaser, too.
Always. Wouldn't miss this meeting for nothing. Well, I was on vacation last week. That's the only time maybe that I won't be here. But otherwise, I won't miss a single meeting ever. Of course.
Cool.
Love these meetings too much.
Hi, everyone.
Same. Hey, Patrick. How you doing?
Hi. Charles.
Hey there, Patrick.
Hello, the new legend, and Felix. Hello. So,
Patrick.
We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Legend.
The 5 lions. That's nice.
The 5 lions.
Yeah. Fire. Okay. Maxime. Cincinnati. That's Greek. And Vlad is Ukrainian or Russian. I don't know. Chayon, you are from India?
Yeah.
And Dan is from US and Felix is from US, Texas. Dan is from North Carolina. And myself, I am the Swiss boy from the Swiss Alps, you know.
Welcome, Maxim and Vlad. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go ƒractal.
Go ƒractal. We'll start in like 14 minutes. Going ƒractal.
We cannot say that Eden should be more ƒractal. Eh? It's verboten. Sorry, it's not authorized now to say that.
That's not true, Patrick.
No, I will always say what I mean. Eden should be more ƒractal for sure.
Yes.
But you are a chief delegate, Dan. You have to be careful.
Yep, that's true.
That's true.
Frank.
But you are a good one.
Thanks, Patrick.
Yeah, the other also. It's not easy.
So the new legend, how was your first Eden Fractal meeting last week?
Yeah, it was very awkward and I didn't know what to do. So, and I was late. So all that complaining, I think that wasn't very good for me. I think today I feel different.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks for joining earlier. And yeah, thanks for also posting all around. I've been seeing you making a bunch of great posts in the Eden Telegram channels and so forth. It seems like you're really exploring the EOS and Eden community and find some cool stuff.
And I'm seeing each of the members have a different version of what Eden is, and I'm trying to, I don't think there's a right one, but I'm trying to make sense.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
yes.
Thanks for joining the town hall meeting and then also the Go ƒractal meeting. It's been good to see you around lately, and welcome to DAS.
Okay.
It'd be cool at some point to get like some music going on here, get like a party atmosphere going up to the Fractal events.
Have you a music special for Eden Fractal?
What's that?
Have you a special music for Eden Fractal?
I don't really have it. I mean, I could try. I could just be like,
oh,
let's go.
Let's go.
I don't think this guitar is actually tuned because I haven't had a chance to play in like a really long time. But
okay.
Eden Fractal or something.
Okay,
I'll figure out a better way to do it.
Let's go.
Let's go, Eden Fractal. Whoa,
Let's go.
Whoa.
Go Eden Fractal. Go Eden Fractal. We are here since the beginning. We believe in Eden Fractal. Yeah, baby. Yes, we love. We are Eden Fractal. Amen.
Amen. the Eden
Go
Fractal.
Eden Fractal. Go Eden Fractal. Oh, Eden Fractal. Yeah. Let's go.
Oh, who's playing this music now? Where's this coming from? Is that Felix?
Yeah, I got a playlist going.
Cool, sounds good. Is this is this public domain, Felix?
I use artlist.io, so I have a subscription. It would be covered on my channel.
Okay.
So.
Sweet. I guess that covers on my channel too, because you're paying for it. I think I'll start share the presentation in a couple minutes for asking new legends who you guys haven't seen presentation yet. Welcome, Chris. And yeah, new legend. Thanks for sharing my
thank you, new legend,
in the chat.
That's my favorite music from Eden Theater. By
Can you make the music a bit lower? It's kind of difficult to hear.
Yeah, my bad.
It's all good.
Better, or is it still pretty loud?
Yeah, better. We hear you.
It's still maybe a little bit loud. Maybe if you could lower it a bit more, that'd make it easier.
So, better, yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
Each other.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. My bad. I can't really. Yeah, I guess I'm not seeing the audio monitors. Oh, here it is.
We should do a sound contest.
What do you mean by sound contest, Patrick?
The best sound from Eden Fractal, I will give some EOS.
Okay. Well, going with what the Genesis Fractal is doing about having fun, I totally agree we should do it. That's something that Chris and I and Lenny were talking about during the meeting that Chris and Gabriel hosted. Like, one of the things that Eden should do is just have more fun and do more fun things. So like contests for music for Eden Fractal.
That was cool. Yesterday. I was not able to join.
Okay.
Yeah, there is too much events, sometimes in the week. It's difficult to follow all, but
yeah, that's true. We recorded it. I'm going to be posting the recordings pretty soon, so if you want to watch it, then you can.
Okay.
And then I think that we're also doing it at the same time next week too.
It's recorded.
I hope that you're enjoying.
Nice. Hello, Oscar. Hello, Jorge.
It looks like you're very
Chris.
comfortable, Oscar.
Hello,
and then
everyone.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. So the 11 lions are here. Okay, so perfect.
I suppose I'll share the presentation quickly so that Maxim and Gian know how to will know how it all works. I have a quick, like 2 or 3 minute presentation that just shows how we vote and different things like that. Cool, sounds good. And by the way, New Legend, is your name pronounced Gian?
It's Gion.
Gion.
Yeah, that's a G and on. That's fine.
Okay, so there's like kind of a hidden R there, Giorn.
And no, G, then on. But just like that, Gion.
Gion.
That's
Gion.
yeah.
Gion.
Gion.
Okay.
Gion.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good. I'll try to remember to pronounce that correctly. I've never heard that name before.
And it's tough.
It's okay.
It's tough to say because we have some, it's not exactly English. So
that sounds more English than Indian, I would say.
No, I would say that. I would love to get a name like Patrick or Dad for sure.
Patrick is Irish, you know. I am an Irish guy.
Yeah, sure.
I think it sounds way better.
I drink every day. I go into the pub.
Yeah, Patrick, I heard you saying on one of the recent interviews that you don't drink at all, but I've seen you post quite a bit about vodka in the past. I heard you say during a recent interview, I don't know if it was the interview with Han or one of the interviews that you don't drink. Although I've heard you make quite a few jokes about vodka, so I was surprised.
Sometimes I say I drink vodka. It's vodka time, but indeed I don't even drink vodka. So that's a joke.
Okay.
Total joke. Yeah.
Just having fun. Cool.
I am a liar.
Okay, cool. So I'll share a brief presentation now, just to share what's going on. I think everybody has seen this several times, except for Maxim and Beyond, so I'll go fast, and then feel free to jump in at any point if you have any questions or comments on that, and I'll just do it really fast, and then we'll break out of the breakout rooms in 5 minutes. Okay, you can see the screen, right? Okay, cool. So welcome everybody to the ƒractal event. So a bit of our itinerary, we'll break down the breaking rooms in about 4 minutes, and they'll be 40 minutes long, and then we'll post consensus and have discussion for probably at least an hour afterwards. We'll post the consensus in both the Zoom chat and also the tool that Vlad built, I think is probably the best way to do it, or unless we just want to use Vlad's tool alone. If everybody's cool with that, then that would be good. Thank you everybody so much for joining us. This is Eden ƒractal week 8. We're recording the community room right now, and then this will be shared on social media. We'll probably also record the chat for consensus purposes as well. And you're welcome to record your breakout room on Zoom permissions. I'll give everybody Zoom permissions to record, or OBS or whatever. Everybody enjoy, have a great time. I think the general goals that we're aiming for here are to help Eden and to help EOS and to also have fun. And yeah, there's the itinerary. We're going to go in the breakout rooms, and in the breakout rooms for 3 to 5 minutes, each person will share what they're doing to help Eden on EOS. And I think this is something that we can improve in. Like some rooms I listen to, and we just kind of talk about Eden stuff in general, but it's best if we can focus on our contributions, I think, because then our measurements about contributions will be most helpful. So just kind of briefly share what you're doing to help Eden and help EOS and so forth. It can be anything that that helps, and then we're going to be for 40 minutes, and then we're going to form consensus, and we have to reach at least 66% consensus. This is Vlad's tool. We'll share the link in the chat. It's the ƒractal, which is very simple. You just type in the group number and then the EOS account name for everybody who participated, and we need to submit the consensus before 15 UTC, which is coming up in in almost 2 hours. So and this is how we'll post it, like the level 6 with the EOS account names. And then level 6, of course, is the highest and the most helpful, and everyone is participating, or everyone is helping greatly by participating here. So thank you for that. Yeah, and then all participants who reach consensus will earn respect EOS and NFTs. I don't know what Chuck is with the NFTs, so maybe we'll have to figure out a new NFT solution or something like that. But yeah, you have to reach consensus and you have to post it in order to receive the respect and the EOS. And then, yep, can earn EOS. There's 100 EOS per week. That's distributed according to the Fibonacci ratio. Previously, I was sponsoring it with Eden Creators for the first 5 weeks, and now Patrick from Nova Crypto is sponsoring it. He sent a generous donation of 600 EOS recently. So thank you very much, Patrick. These are all from Pomelo and Eden on EOS. We have that slide is messed up, but the Eden ƒractal is now have a 507 owner permission on the M6, so it's more decentralized. And yeah, we have some cool NFTs as well. So I think that there might be some duplicates here, but I think that's pretty much it. And if anybody has any questions or thoughts, we'll break out in the breakout room. And once again, thank you very much.
Hey, I guess in my breakout room, I'm going to talk about it a little bit, but I'll mention it here and then we can talk about it more afterwards. All right, we got 1 minute. Maybe I can wait, but basically I've made a Pomelo grant for the Eden ƒractal. So yeah, well, I'll talk about it more afterwards, but yeah, basically all 100% funds that come to the, hopefully it gets approved. I just submitted it this morning, but I think it should, right? The public good is because we're offering anyone publicly can come here and get EOS for contributing towards pushing EOS forward and adding, you know, any benefit. So so yeah, I'll share that. And then obviously, yeah, if we can rally behind this, all these funds come back into here and support us with what we're doing as far as contributions and onboarding new users, because that's, I think, one of the biggest use cases, and that this Eden ƒractal will deliver for both Eden and EOS.
Cool. Sounds great, Felix. Looking forward to discussing this more after the talk. It's 13:15 right now, so I'll break out of the record rooms. Welcome, Chuck, as well. Thank you for joining us. And I'll just ask real quick to Jorn and Maxim, does everything make sense? Or do you have any questions before we start?
Makes sense to me right now. Thanks,
yeah, I think it's going to the breakout room, discuss and reach consensus. That's what I understood.
Yeah, and before we break out, I was just gonna in the chat, I'm gonna put the app just in case we have a breakout room where no one doesn't have the app that we're using. So basically, we will submit this once consensus is reached in this post to the on chain, and then we use that to distribute the funds. We're still manually doing it, but ideally, hopefully, we'll get there where it's going to be basically when you submit it, maybe there's a little time window and then it'll get distributed. But for now, thanks to Vlad, big shout out to him. He built this tool. So
yeah, absolutely. Another thing that is relevant here is, so Marco just joined. Thank you for joining us, Marco. Although it puts us in a position where we have 13 people. So as James Mart said last week, the smart contract doesn't work with groups of 4. So we'll go into, I think, 3 breakout rooms, but then we'll have 4 participants in 2 rooms. And I think what we should do is, because the smart contract doesn't work in that situation, we'll just put the Eden.ƒractal account as the rank 2 in those rooms, and I think that will make it work. Do you have any thoughts about that, Vlad? Do you think that's a good idea, or?
Yeah, let's do it that way.
Okay, sounds good.
Makes it easier. You can just drop out.
yeah, I like that.
Okay, yeah, Vlad, do you know if that will work? Because James Mart, he was suggesting that. I don't know if he was sure if it work. Do you think that'll definitely work?
Didn't you do it this way last week?
No, last week we wound up having a couple extra people who joined. Like there was Arliss, for example, who joined and couldn't make it. So we just decided to add, he joined in the beginning, but he couldn't make it in the breakout room. So we decided to add him to the rank number 2. So there was a person for all, and we were able to have 15 people with all people last week. Whereas this week, if we have 13, nobody else joins, then we'll definitely have not 15 people.
For now, we can just put Eden.ƒractal. If the distribution won't work, we can change it to Eden and SIG, for example.
Okay, cool. Sounds great. Okay, thanks for that. And yep, if anybody doesn't have any further words, then we'll start now and we'll go for 40 minutes. Everybody have a great time.
Yep. Make sure to check your room too. That'll be the number that you use for the group number.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, Charles. And hey, Marco and Tadas. Great to see you.
Everyone, Maxim.
All right.
Hey there.
Hey, Maxim.
Hey.
Hey, can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear, quite loud and clear.
Okay. Great. Wasn't working with the previous mic, I think.
Okay, cool. Shall we jump into the contributions right away, or is there anything that anyone would like to share first?
Well, not for me. It's all right.
Okay, sounds great. Ooh, would anybody like to share your contributions first?
Let's go. All right. So I was on vacation last week, but I got back to Paris to resume work for your support. So this week has been a busy week so far, much of work to catch on. So for this week, we have been working on a new ambassador program called the Suspect. It's a clone of Eden. It's going to be the first working clone of Eden, meant exclusively to distribute funding to those participating in the EOS support squads. So people entering the EOS Respect program will be first added as EOS support squad members. So they'll have to agree by the bylaws and agree that they'll follow the rules of EOS support to promote EOS support and EOS in general in their local communities. So that's always been our goal. So we want to promote EOS worldwide in as many communities as we can, in many languages. The goal is to have people that are knowledgeable about EOS that can then teach others. And our goal is to distribute funding to those persons that have great projects in their local communities that want to help others. And so we think that this will be a great program to do so. We have started the inductions for our EOS support squad members, and we'll see how it goes. So we are short of launching the whole process, and we can wait to share it with everyone. I'll talk more about it on the Thursday's live stream, but until then, we'll see. Much excited about that. I also spend much time working on the EOS support Telegram stickers. We made a few of these a while back. And then I went back and added some more animations and more colors and such to the stickers. They're available for everyone to use on Telegram, so you're welcome to use them, just to add more fun and on the EOS's chats. And after that, we'll also do translations for them so that other communities worldwide will be able to use them in their language, of course. After that, of course, there's always work related to support, translations, guides. So much work for me on that end as well. And that's mostly all I've done this week. So I haven't stopped a single minute, but very excited about everything as always. So that's all for this week. And I can't remember for the love of God what I was ranked 2 weeks ago when I last was here. I think it was first level 6, maybe. It could be. I don't know. Who knows? And next, I'll go for Marco. Go ahead. Welcome to take the lead.
Well, hey guys, sorry for being late. Yeah, nice contributions. I'm a small participant in EOS support as well. Very exciting stuff going on there. Great team, maybe the best. My weekly stuff is, well, the briefings is transformed from mutated from EOS Weekly. There's always the ƒractal and Eden sections in there, as well as mainnet EOS content. This week was probably the first time that I really took all 3 fractals and gave them a good presentation for newcomers. And I'll be doing more of that. The idea behind the Pomelo grant of the EOS briefing is to expand upon the briefings, to do project-specific ones. As we move closer to an EVM and ƒractal begins to launch its own software, see briefings branching out a bit to any independent communities that form. Part of the whole idea is that it is sort of connecting the little communities that do branch out, that have their own personality. So if you look back at each weekly newsletter, you see a tone or flavor or characteristic of how the eating community and the ƒractal communities begin to take their own shape. For a while there, I was calling each section eating governance or ƒractal consensus. I was trying to keep up with the terminology being used. The idea is that, yes, it's quick news for people that are here that know all about EOS, but also a place for new people to help them on board. It's also a way to look back. We've been away for a while. On the Pomelo granted list, it's not a mainstream news site. It's not a support network. It's not a social network. It's more of it can branch out to all those things. So I'm going to pass it off to Taras.
Thanks, Marco. Yeah, so this week I finally got my white paper for the project I've been working on for the last couple of months. I finally got the white paper to the point where I think I can share it. And yeah, I think I might. It's a shame I can't screen share. So yeah, so basically it's an idea how for how fractals and Edens could gain power to influence block producers and selections and blockchains, and in general create a incentive loop where BPs would be incentivized to support contributors, and contributors would vote for BPs, and token holders would get a chance to stake for contributors and earn rewards this way, and while supporting BPs as well.
Tadas, I just gave you screen sharing permissions if you do want to screen share.
Oh, okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, you see this diagram, contribution staking pools. So yeah, so this is basically the overview of how the system works. So on the right side, you see a normal fractally process where respect is distributed to most valuable contributors. And on the right side, you see something called contribution staking pools, where you would have one staking pool for each contributor, and EOS token holders would get a chance to stake EOS and get rewards in the form of ARAS token or AR token. Yes, and the interesting part is how this token would be distributed. It would be distributed for each staking pool proportionately to the amount of respect that the contributor of that pool receives in the ƒractal meetings. And yeah, so stakers would try to stake in the staking pools which have the largest, which has the best contributors basically. And yeah, and the important part is that in order to stake in a staking pool, you have to vote in the EOS governance for BPs the same way that the contributor of that pool votes. And that way, an interesting incentive loop is created where The more contributor earns respect, more rewards are given to the stakers that stake for contributor. That means more votes for BPs that contributors selects, and that incentivizes BPs to support contributors and their projects. And more support for contributors again means that contributor earns more respect and the cycle continues. So in a nutshell, this would allow Eden Fractal to both influence EOS governance and get maybe additional support from BPs. So I posted a link to the full white paper in the chat, and it's the first version, so feel free to leave any comments. You can post comments in Google Drive on PDF documents, so feel free to ask any questions or ask for clarification. And yeah, that's all for me.
Sounds great to us. Thank you. I'm looking forward to looking into this more. It looks like it's very well thought out.
Thanks. And I pass it on to Maxim.
Morning. At least it's morning for me. Thanks, you guys. It's been really cool listening to what you have. I think I'm really in that particular stage where I'm still kind of gathering info and understanding and trying to, in some sense, like I think catch up to certain people. I want to give input on things, but I'm really in the information gathering stage, I think. And I don't want to necessarily be redundant or divert from good tracks that people are already taking in certain areas. And I think I don't know necessarily how long it will take. I have certain ideas, but I'm kind of still, I think, maybe just learning. And so I don't know that for a little while I'll be doing a lot that I'll be able to point to in the past, except for attending, and hopefully that will be worth some value in the future more than just attending at this point. But I think watching and thinking is immediately what I'm really interested in here. And the only, I guess, thing that I would have to say is that I am an Eden delegate, and I'm trying to take that role seriously as well. And the process that I have there is kind of similar, where I'm trying to watch and learn, and hopefully as time goes on I can take meaningful action upon what I've learned. But at this point, I think that's a lot of what I have to say. I'm really excited to be talking with you guys and hearing from you, and thanks for all your work.
Okay. Thank you, Maxim. Very much appreciate you doing everything that you do and learning and being a delegate and so forth, and joining these meetings.
We've got a new member. Hello there.
Hey, Hernan. Thanks for joining us.
Hi.
I'm having an issue with my video right now. I'm like
hey
super
guys,
delayed.
just dropping. My internet here is not too good. We're the family and at Greece, but yeah, it is. I have lousy internet, guys. So I'll just turn my video off. But I'm here somewhere in Greece. I'm hoping not too late, but I'll try listening, and if I have something valuable to say, I'll just chime in.
Cool. Sounds good. Thanks for joining us, and I really appreciate it. And I hope that you're enjoying Greece. It looks beautiful there. Would you like to share your contributions and what you've been doing to help EOS and help Eden lately?
Well, Basically, I've just been engaging on the Eden Delegates channel with the whole debacle that's been going on. I've been chiming in with my thoughts on how to manage the OPEX expense. I'm still making my research as to how to best expend my own Eden budget, probably most likely Pomelo. And I have also commitments that I made for the supporting EOS support and the guys that were in my channel on the election that I wanted to promote their initiatives. Other than that, yeah, not much. I've been helping out Chris a bit with the proposal for the changes in the OPEX expenses. I think it's important for us to become independent of the ƒractal team. So I think I'll support those initiatives that drives us into being independent. That's basically it.
Okay, cool. Sounds great. Thank you so much, Hernan, for everything you're doing now. And then also just in general, you do super, super helpful work for EOS in general. So thank you very much. And yeah, thank you very much for joining us as well.
Thank you guys. Great to be here.
Cool. So I'll share what I've been doing to my contributions. I think I got my video working a little bit better now, which I'm happy about. And I'll share a little bit of a presentation. So the Eden ƒractal website, I've just been, I've been making a lot of improvements that I haven't really showed so much yet, but I'm kind of going through a redesign to provide more valuable to people who see the website. So, I also put out the tweet last week from the Eden ƒractal Twitter account and just shared it in a bunch of places to help promote the event. And then also to thank Patrick from Over Crypto for doing the donations and help promote some of Patrick's work. And then, yeah, these are still kind of early designs. James March shared a really cool idea about using cardioids in the Eden ƒractal marketing channel, which I quite like. And so I've been experimenting. Cardioid is this shape here. And it kind of has a lot of symbolism with the heart and so forth. I'm going to be putting videos on the website so people who check out edenphractal.com can see the videos. Then I also got kind of a fun image with like a bike and keyboard and stuff like that in the world for details where people can learn more. And then I'm also thinking about making like a leaderboard that people can see on the website as well, so people can see that. The videos, this is kind of like an early draft of the page, but it just basically has what's on the YouTube playlist for all the videos from all the ƒractal meetings. I think this is a big value proposition of the Eden ƒractal that people can like learn about for the first time, and then they can see the videos and see all the people who are joining and see all the contributions and so forth. So I've just been curating everybody's videos there. And then I kind of just gave a bit of an overhaul to the details page as well to provide more details and kind of make it more current. It was kind of old from when Eden ƒractal just started. And I've been just making I've been making a lot of art with different logos and trees inside the Pentagon, which I like as well. And just explaining like how we're recording and making requirements and so forth. And this is also, these requirements aren't really formalized right now. We've also been working on making like a formal governance system for the Eden ƒractal, kind of like how the Genesis ƒractal does too. So then we can actually make formal rules, make sure everybody has an EOS account and so forth. And then, yeah, this is kind of repetitive now. It's still a work in progress. I've also been working quite a bit over the past week or so on the Eden Creators YouTube channel. So I've been posting all the videos there and organizing into playlists so people can see all the Eden ƒractal videos, all the Eden Town Hall videos, Alien Worlds ƒractal, Hot Sauce, and so forth, and just a bunch of videos that are related to Eden and EOS and ƒractal governance and so forth. And I'm going to be adding more here as well to provide a resource for people. And I've also been making similar upgrades to edencreators.com as well, although that's not live yet. I also co-hosted the Eden Town Hall show with Felix, as always, every Sunday at 16 UTC. And then I've been building a playlist there, and Felix has been doing a great job making timestamps for each video. And I also co-host, or I also hosted the Hot Sauce as well, talking about Pomelo and Gray Mass and Zysan and a bunch of cool EO stories. And then also, I didn't really have too much of a part in this other than just kind of editing, but the Pomelo, or rather the Hot Sauce team, made like a really cool video and stuff to help promote Pomelo or help promote the Hot Sauce and do Pomelo pitch to raise funding to make the Hot Sauce even better. And then I also participated in an interview with Patrick from Nova Crypto, Chief Delegate interview. So that's there. And I talked for, I don't know, we had a 40-minute conversation that was really interesting, shared some ideas for the growth of Eden and EOS. And then I've also been doing the Chief Delegate meetings. Last week I chaired it, which is fun and very interesting. And then there's some notes there. And then this week I participated, of course, as well, and shared thoughts. And then I also participated in the Eden brainstorming session hosted by Chris and Gabrielle this week too. And I'm going to be posting videos for that soon. So that's that. And thank you.
Thanks, Darren. That's a lot.
Yes. Thank you, Maxim. I'll also put out a message saying 19 minutes remaining for consensus. Okay.
All right. Just want to say now we finished with sharing the contributions. So thanks to Tadas, I've begun reading the paper, and I think it's a great idea. It's great work you have done here. We can't wait for the block producers to yield power. So thinking of other solutions really is a great initiative. Thank you very much for your work. I'm very eager to dive deeper into the white paper. Thanks.
Great.
Yeah, same here.
Great original idea that creates a power structure.
Sorry, what did you say?
An original idea that introduces a new power structure. I like it.
Yeah, can't wait to have a more reader on the white paper.
Yep, same here. And I'm looking forward to our interview too that we're doing with Patrick Tadas. It seems like what you're proposing can be super helpful for EOS and Eden, and from what I understand, all blockchains as well.
Yeah, that's why I'm excited about it, because this could be something unprecedented, I think, because all blockchains tend towards centralization over time, and if EOS could be the first blockchain which uses something like fractal governance to decentralize it, it would be something, in my mind, it would be something big. Yeah, so that's why I'm working on it.
Very interesting. All right. Okay. How about we move on to the voting phase, to the consensus phase?
Yep. Sounds great.
Let's see. Let's start with level 6, as always. That's weird, level 6. There. All right. So everyone think about who you think should be level 6. Once everyone is ready, we'll post it at the same time in the chat, if that's all right with you all.
Yep, that's good with me. And also thank you, Maxim, for sharing the Eden Creators channel a little while ago. But yeah, I'm ready to go. Is it ready?
Yep.
Ready? So okay. 3, 2, 1. Go. All right.
Okay, Tadas has 3 out of 5. I think that Hernan didn't vote. Do you understand how this works, Hernan? Have you submitted the consensus with the Zoom method before, Hernan?
So, wait, is this like a fractally respect voting thing?
Yes, essentially. So what we do is, well, during this meeting, we'll rank each other's contributions between 1 and 6, with 6 being the highest, just like fractally. And then the way that we typically do it, that seems to work best, is to use the Zoom chat. So we'll start with rank 6, and then we'll count down to 3, 2, 1. And at that time, everybody will enter who they think should be the rank, or should be the level 6, who did the most contributions. And then after that, we'll do rank 5 and so forth. Make sense?
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So for now, we have a little consensus on Tadas for level 6, which is very nice. If that's all right with everyone, we can move on to level 5.
Yeah, sounds good. I think technically we don't have consensus because he has 3 to 6, but I'm happy to change my vote to Das. So he'll have 4 to 6.
Yeah, normally we would need 4 out of 6. Yes, but thanks, Dan.
Yep, of course. Thank you.
Perfect. All right, moving on to level 5.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Charles, specifically for this fractal, this Eden fractal. Can you highlight your contribution in a sentence?
Sorry, didn't hear the last part. Sorry.
Specifically for this Eden fractal, can you highlight your contribution in a sentence? Can you hear me okay?
Sorry, I can't follow you.
Well, now, sometimes the sound is not good. Can you hear me any better?
Yeah, a bit better. Thanks.
Can you highlight your contributions to this Eden fractal specifically in a sentence?
So can I say my contribution to this Eden fractal? Can I repeat my contributions? All right. So yes. Contributions to this Eden fractal specifically. Did I contribute to Eden fractal specifically? No, all the contributions I shared were for EOS in general. I don't think I particularly helped this Eden fractal. So I'm a member of Fractally. I helped with a team, a French-speaking team over there to popularize the Fractally process. But Eden fractal specifically, yes. So I was in contact with Chris Barnes, who has been going over with all the delegates. So when he has my opinion on how things would be going moving forward, I explained to him that yes, my opinion was that the Fractally process that we have here in Eden Fractal is the process that I value most. So when we speak about Eden being a fun process, this is right here what we're doing. We're making it fun. We're making it a process where everyone gets rewarded for their time. So when asked about it by the chief delegate, I answered yes, I support the Eden Fractal. And whenever I get the chance, I invite people to join this very meeting right here. But that's all the contributions I think I made specifically for Eden Fractal, not Fractally, not EOS in general, if that answers your question.
You're part of a Francophone, right?
Yes, so I'm supportive of the EOS French-speaking community, which I manage with other people. And I'm also a member of the Fractally Francophonie team, which is a team inside the Fractally Genesis, Prime Fractal, which is promoting the Fractally process in French across the world. So our goal is to produce content that will help other fractals get onboarded with the Fractally process down the line. And we'll launch our Fractal whenever we can. So a Fractal for French-speaking persons dedicated to promoting EOS and Fractally together. So we won't only be promoting inside this Fractal Fractally only, but Fractally with EOS, so the both of them. That's how we think is best for moving forward as the French-speaking community. Much of us are passionate about EOS, but also Fractally. So our goal, I think, is to merge the two together. So form a community that advocates for both EOS and Fractally as a governance system working together. That's
I believe Franco only needs more attention from time to time. I'm ready for level 5. Thanks.
You're welcome. All right, so moving on to level 5. I don't know how much time we have left.
We have about 11 minutes left.
Yeah, let's go. So, well, who do I vote for here? Let's go. All right.
Is everybody ready with a name typed in the Zoom chat and ready to hit enter after we count down to 3, 2, 1?
Ready.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay.
Right.
It looks like Hernan didn't type it in again. Oh, okay, so there's a split between me and Charles, it looks like. So
he changed his yours. I believe Francophone needs
perfect.
Charlie.
No.
Okay.
No, switched.
Well, okay, so now I think there are 2 switches now. I think Hernan switched to me and Marco switched to Charles. So, okay.
No, I can't switch now. I already voted for you.
Yeah. We'll both switch now to make it more confusing. So I voted for Charles because I think Charles is doing incredibly helpful work throughout the EOS ecosystem and Eden ecosystem, and then also I'm stoked about what he's doing with EOS Respect too. And then the shows are great too. So I'm happy to go either way, but I think that it makes sense to vote Charles here.
Okay.
I primarily voted for Dan because Charles' contribution seems more in the future. Dan seems more in the now. If that makes a difference for it anyway.
Okay. So who do we have here?
I can change back to Dan if that makes it closer. What's the vote total there?
I don't know. I'm quite confused at this point.
No, I think if Charles votes for himself, we have consensus, right?
Well, I'm happy to, if you can help. Well, all right, moving on. Voting for myself. Okay, that's good.
Okay, sounds
we
good.
Can move on. Well, thank you everyone for your respect. Let's go over for level 4 then. So we can always already agree the dancing joint for level 4. We don't have to. Yeah. All right. That's all right with everyone. Move on to level 3.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
And moving on to level 3. More complicated. Although no, pretty clear to me. Let's go.
Okay. I'm not sure you meant by although no, but sounds good. Is everybody ready for level 3 vote?
Ready.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, lift off. Okay. It looks like Marco has 4 votes here.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. All right. So congratulations, Marco. Did I? Yeah. All right, moving on to level 2. All right, ready.
Okay, so we're ready for level 2. 3, 2, 1, go.
Well, unanimous, almost.
Okay, sounds good.
I
also very much appreciate Maxim, by the way, too. And I wanted to rank Maxim higher because I think that he's bringing a huge value in learning about all these things and joining these meetings. Although the reason why I voted for Hernan is just that, I mean, I've been following Hernan for years and I've been seeing Hernan do great work for a long time. So I think it's helpful to give Hernan the extra respect here.
Absolutely. I wanted to support Maxim's motivations. It requires self-control and determination to slowly, surely, learning more and then doing things as they should. And as a delegate, I respect the fact that you're taking the time to listen to your delegates and take the time to do things well. So it takes a lot of work and I'm supportive of that, of course.
Thank you, guys.
So that's...
I appreciate you guys.
All right, so
yeah,
we have consensus. We'll post the whole list.
Yep. Does everybody know how to use the tool, the React app that Vlad built?
I need a link. I know I have it somewhere, but yeah.
Okay.
We're room 3, right?
Yes, that is correct. Yep, we're room 3.
Room 3. We're in room 3 right now. Yeah. So just to be sure that I have all the account names right, I'm going to post it in the chat. Let's see.
We write the names with the EOS account names, Hernan. So we'll write group number 3 at the top, and then Tadas's account is Das25. And I think that Charles said that he's writing in the chat, so you can just copy and paste. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Just to be sure.
Sounds great. Well, yeah, we have like 4 minutes left, and we have to submit the consensus within about an hour and 7 minutes. So if anybody would like to, I don't know, share any thoughts at the end of the meeting about how it went and so forth. I'm also curious to hear your thoughts, Maxim, too, and also Hernan joining for the first time for the Eden Fractal, what the experience has been like so far.
I'd just like to see if everybody's US address, so I can cut and paste.
Sounds good.
Here's mine.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab my computer really fast so I can do the Anchor login thing.
Okay, sounds good.
What's your account name, Hernan? I don't see. Has it been posted?
It's pretty simple. It's EOS Hernan EOS. It's pretty straightforward.
Hernan.
Yes, it's EOS Hernan EOS, like this. I put in the chat.
All right, perfect. Thanks.
Okay.
And
I just wrote my name in the chat too to make it easier, and Marco did as well.
oh shit, send it to there. For everyone. All right, is that correct?
I think that your name isn't correct, Maxim. It looks like it's over 12 characters. This is EOS accounts, by the way, not Hive accounts.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
No worries. Is everybody's name correct and Charles's message in the chat?
Yeah, mine correct.
Okay, cool. Maxim just posted maxim.gm.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah.
I got a failure. I don't know if it's a capital letter. I think it might have been the capital letter.
Okay. I'm not sure if I can handle capital letters or not.
Yep, that was it.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
All right. Good for me. I'm submitting on the Eden Fractal front.
I can't express how important I believe Tadas's paper is there. I believe we really can use and probably will need in the future soon a new power structure, and that relationship I believe is a healthy one between people we vote for, the VPs and supporters. Put more pressure on VPs. I believe they've got maybe. I think it's just built in to be complacent. But I'll let it go since time is running down.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good. Yeah, I'm also
Thanks,
wondering.
Marco.
I'm also.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you, Tadas. I was going to say that I'm also wondering too the next steps with the white paper, and I was also wondering the next steps with the EOS respect EOS squads things too that Charles is doing. But we don't have too much time, so those are questions that I can save for later, I guess, unless you want to answer very quickly.
Tadas, you have a Pomelo?
Yeah, I'm planning on creating Pomelo pitch in the either this week or next week. I hope to get this created. So I will share this with you once I have it.
Cool. Looking forward to it. I'm going to hit close rooms. I think you'll give us 60 seconds more. Thanks, everybody. Yep, 60 seconds. So Tadas, what are the next steps then for, make the pomelo and then share, is the white paper totally done or is it still a work in progress?
Yeah, so it's done. I think it could use some more technical details in some parts. So I think I will still iterate it in the future, but it's at the point where I'm close to being ready to start developing the parts of it. And yeah, so I think it's close enough to done so to be able to understand that this is something worth to be working on. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks, everybody. Hello, everybody. I hope you all had a great time. Please remember to submit your consensus results. I'd encourage everybody to use Vlad's app and let us know if you have any questions. And I see, Marco, you have a question or your hand's up or something?
No, I just wanted to say, Donis, I believe your proposal is right for pomelo now, and that it could probably use a light graphic that explained your few words at the end there to us in the group, just for people to quickly see that the relationship between people who are voted into fractal position and or people who contributed fractally and Eden members, and how it pushes BPs to do work. So that could be 4 or 5 items that anyone could just see passing by on a Twitter or something like that. But I don't think we have anything close.
Yeah, I added some diagrams which and intent of them is to do this to show as to make it easy to understand how this benefits the system, but I guess it could use maybe some work to make it even easier to understand.
Give me a day or two. I'll just give you my perspective, how I see it. If that helps. Fresh eyes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks.
Quick question, guys. Is there anything else, or are we done here?
Yeah, we usually.
So, yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Okay, sure.
Hey, Brock here. Just wanted to just wave and say hi. I've been lurking.
Hey, Brock. Thanks so much for joining us. It's great to see you here.
Yeah, I'm multitasking, but like to check in and see how things are going. Awesome to see everybody here. Have a great day.
Cool. That sounds great.
Good to see you, Brock.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for taking the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also thank you to Hernan and Mo and Chris, and also Maxim and the new legend too, for all joining us for the first time. And I hope that you all had a fun time. And yeah, really appreciate you all joining.
That was a good time. I liked it.
Great experience. Thank you.
Cool. Sounds great. Thank you very much. And then, yeah, to answer your question, Mo, so usually we hang out and just have an open discussion for the next hour, sometimes longer. I can stick around for an hour, and then sometimes it goes on for longer than that as well with more people. And we talk about just anything that comes to mind, kind of open discussion. Both we could talk about like experiences with how it was. I'd be interested to hear what people thought. Sometimes we also plan out next steps for Eden Fractal. Felix mentioned before he made a pomelo pitch for Eden Fractal, so there's lots of things that we can discuss. And of course, you're welcome to stick around and participate in the discussions.
So it sounds good. Hopefully next week I'll be able to spend a little bit more time with you guys. Today I'm kind of running around as fast as I can. So yeah, hopefully next week. You guys take care and have a productive meeting.
Thanks.
Take care, man.
Thanks.
Sounds great. Thank you, Mo.
Thanks for participating, Mo. Hey, heads up, I'm gonna hop in for my group too. We're gonna just do a quick breakout room. We didn't completely finish, so we'll be right back. I sent an extra room.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. I've never had that happen before. We've never seen that happen before, rather. So does anybody have any thoughts you'd like to share about your experience with Eden Fractal, or any thoughts in general you'd like to discuss?
I was waiting for Felix to come talk to us about the Eden Fractal Pomelo pitch, but I guess we're gonna have to wait for that. Or if you can talk to us about it.
¿Quieres armar dominos conmigo? ¿Quieres armar unos dominos conmigo, de bicho?
Hernan, I don't understand what language you're speaking right now, Hernan.
Oh, sorry, I was unmuted. I was just speaking with my son. Sorry, guys.
Okay, it's all good. And then, yeah, Oscar, I suppose Felix will probably be back in shortly to share the Pomelo pitch. Another thing that I'm interested in hearing people's thoughts about, if we want to discuss it. Well, one, I'd be interested to hear from Chris and the new legend, and more from Hernan about what you thought, and more from Maxim about what you thought, if you'd like to share. And then also, I think something that might be helpful to discuss is just continuing the discussion that we had last week about the formal governance process. So I think that we'll propose having it where it's kind of like the Genesis Fractally interim consensus process, where we can pass proposals as a group with consortium, and then the vote from the people who are ranked 4, 5, and 6 every week. That will enable us to do things like put rules to make sure that everybody has an EOS account, put rules to make sure everybody's on video if we want, put rules for this and that, which I think will be very helpful for the group. We don't have to discuss that now, but I think that'd be helpful to discuss more and hear everybody's thoughts at some point.
I wouldn't mind, I mean, it's not exactly what you said, Dan, but I'm just curious. I don't know Maxim or Chris, and just for the sake of getting to know community members, if you guys feel comfortable, or do you want to sort of introduce yourselves a bit? Maybe that's selfish just to me. Maybe other people know you. I don't know, but if we have time.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
No. Good. Maxim, you can go ahead.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I guess the introduction suggested this is my first time in the Eden Fractally. Just joined my first Fractally meeting as well. Really liking hearing from people, and I think this is a great thing. I think this is very needed, and I am in level 1 EOS delegate, and other than that, I guess, as I was telling my group, that I'm in the stage of learning and hearing from others and trying to see what the focuses are and where people's thoughts are at before I go too crazy. I don't know that I have a lot more to say than that. But
one follow-up question.
Yeah.
You said this is very needed. Can you expand on what you mean by that? Why
that's a good question. Well, I guess really simply, it would probably just be that, if this is a good idea, if fractals are good things, applying them further to within the EOS system is a great idea. I think this in itself is encouraging more thought and more creativity from members, and I just see good things coming from that. So I didn't mean that to be as loaded as it may have sounded. There's not some specific need, but I think that's also part of the cool thing about this, is that it draws minds together, and I think it clarifies needs that may not have otherwise been clarified. So
cool.
Yeah.
Chris?
Well, I've been participating in the Genesis Fractal with Fractally, and then I was invited to come to this, and I did, and it's basically the same thing. So that's cool. I'm not an Eden member. I got to be convinced a little more to be able to join, but I don't know. I'm just trying to get more involved in the community, and maybe once I figure out how I can contribute more, then I can do that. But right now I'm just trying to participate, just by showing up to these different things, and maybe I'll eventually figure out ways in which my strengths can benefit the community.
Awesome. And so interesting about not being an Eden member. We're currently having a bit of, well, maybe we strong to say an existential crisis, but we're certainly having some internal questions about what Eden is, what it does, why become a member, what are the incentives for you, why bother to participate?
I was at the last town hall meeting a couple of days ago or whenever, and that's my concern. Like, I was around when you were elected in the first like mock election, so I thought it was like raising money for projects, and then it's like electing representatives. But what are you electing representatives for? So is it raising money for projects like Pamela, or is it electing representatives? But for what? I just don't understand the purpose.
Yeah, you're paying close enough attention to totally have articulated that well. So good job. We don't know either. And that's part of so there's some aspirational goals. So representatives for what? Aspirationally, it might be to have influence over the EOS blockchain. That's maybe one way to put it. We're not there. We have sort of subjective, loose influence just by having a voice, but we have no teeth tied to that voice. So that's maybe an aspirational goal.
I believe if you take Tadas' proposal, you could liken it to what if you voted for the leaders of lobby groups. If you haven't seen it yet, I believe that's a dynamic that comes out because from my understanding, you would be staking in those people who participate here. So you would have a vested interest in how they perform as far as respect. Thus, those who do stake to them would want also to support their projects and creating a cyclical relationship that adds a unique power structure to what the BP holds over the token.
Yes, that's not a bad summary. Thanks, Marco.
Yeah. Seriously, imagine voting for the people who hold the money to lobby groups, tying that right in there. We don't do that now. It's kind of first vote and the lobby groups pounce. Here you would have that tied directly in there.
Hey guys, sorry for hopping in a little late. I hope I'm not interrupting any discussion. If it's all right, I was gonna go ahead and share my screen and show the Pomelo grant for the Eden Fractal and kind of talk a little bit about it. And I really would like to get some feedback from everyone else outside of my room. We talked about it a little bit in my room, but for everyone here. So I'm gonna share my screen really quick.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. And while you're doing that, Felix, I'll also say, if people aren't familiar, didn't see the chat, what Marco was talking with Das's white paper. Das shared a white paper that's very interesting to, well, there's lots of details in here. And I suppose if Das wants to give a brief overview, he can, but it's a way that could potentially help Eden and EOS and Fractals a lot and all sorts of blockchains. Would you like to say anything more about that, Tadas? Just a brief info overview first, or?
Well, Charles has put a link in the chat to the actual white paper, so you're welcome to read it there, and feel free to leave any comments or questions. It's the first version, so if anything is unclear, feel free to ask questions. And yeah, maybe some for the next Eden Fractal meetings, I will be more prepared to give a more concise and understandable overview. So yeah, for now, let's leave it at that.
Sweet, it looks awesome, Tadas. I really like how you it looks like a professional paper, which is sweet. So yeah, I'll make sure to make some time to go through that, and then yeah, maybe we can maybe do a video or something if you feel like that would be easier to present your ideas. Like yeah, we can share that. So yeah,
hold on just 1 second, Felix. I just want to check. I just did a spotlight for Felix's screen, so I believe I've never used this feature, but I believe that makes it so we can see Felix's screen in big. Can everybody see Felix's screen in large right now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep,
Cool.
I see it as well. So.
Okay. Cool. Sounds good.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, yeah. So I made a Pomelo grant. I'll throw it in the chat if you guys want to click into it to either save it or look into further details. But I'm gonna kind of briefly go over it. So I just submitted it this morning. It's under review. I do believe it is a public good. So we'll see what the Pomelo team says, and then if I may have to redo some wording, but basically I'm going to explain how I put it. And then I'd like to, yeah, like I said, get feedback. So basically this is the Eden Fractal Pomelo grant. And so it's donate to the Eden Fractal to help support the public good that the Eden Fractal offers by onboarding and incentivizing new users. So I put it together kind of quickly. I just wanted to get it approved so that it can start receiving donations, and then I may go back and make this look more appealing. But basically, so by donating to this grant, 100% of the funds will be deployed to the Eden Fractal, where the public is welcome to come and contribute in consensus-reaching process of empowering contributions to the EOS network. So by participating and reaching consensus in the weekly Eden Fractal meetings, participants will be rewarded with EOS, Eden Respect, and the possibility of NFTs and NTTs. The donated funds will be deployed strategically to encourage participants to bring on new users, as it is respected within the Eden Fractal to onboard new members. Public good is very similar to a faucet, time to drip EOS into the hands of new users and open the doors to the masses. Tools have already been built by developers who have been incentivized to contribute towards the Eden Fractal. Help continue support our developers by donating to this grant. And then just a disclaimer. So the EOS account that I'm using is it's tied to my EOS account until we have the security of the Eden Fractal M6 set up. And I just think it would make more sense for that for season 4, since I had to submit it. Very also open to getting input on that though as well. But thanks to blockchain technology, the accountability and transparency of all transactions regarding this grant will be made available in the next season's update, as well as viewable on blocks.io. And then I put a link to the playlist to all of the Eden Fractal meetings that we've had. And obviously I'll put number 8 once we're done here. But yeah, that's that. So yeah, so the idea, guys, is as a delegate, I am putting my funds in. I will be, since we can now donate to ourselves, I want to maximize my delegate funding. So I will be contributing towards this grant with my delegate funding. And I also welcome all other delegates to do the same, or even make your own grant. I think it is beneficial maybe for us to empower the Eden Fractal by running our own grants, because then this now puts more transparency and accountability on the delegates to fully use the funds, but then also as a delegate, they can be strategic on how they want to deploy it. But since this is open, this is a community, I respect the consensus of how the funds should be deployed. So yeah, that's the basics.
By the way, Felix, your grant was approved at least 10 minutes ago, because I did vote for it. And my Pomelo Pro is just out there, is also supporting Fractally and Eden, if anyone cares to see that. But I believe Felix is a powerhouse, and if unsung, and I've been looking forward to his proposal since the day mentioned it.
Well, thank you, Marco. I appreciate that.
Yep, sounds great. Thank you, Felix, for taking that initiative. I want to just respond to one of the things you said about the account and the MSIG and so forth. So just to be clear, the Eden Fractal account is decentralized now with both active and owner permission. So the owner permission has 6 people on the account and a threshold of 5 or 7. So it is decentralized. Of course, we can decentralize it more in the future, and that'll be good. But it is completely configured now. Although with Pomelo pitches, as far as I understand, I don't know if you can send it to a DAO, because Pomelo requires KYC, and so I think that it would have to go to your account or some individual's account who can KYC, and then they could send it to Eden Fractal account after that. But yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay, cool. And yeah, like I said, that kind of goes more towards what I'm kind of leaning towards as well, because so this brings up a conversation about, you know, so this is for the Eden Fractal, but it's also on the reputation of myself, right? Since I'm of like how I would handle those funds. And like I said, I think this does open, I think this empowers delegates a little bit more to do it through this way as well. Because like I said, then it allows the flexibility to be strategic. So 100%, I've already said in the grant that 100% of the funds will be used for the Eden Fractal. But like I said, I think it's now left to my discretion to strategically deploy them into the Eden Fractal. And so, like I said, as a delegate, I'm very open to hearing and reaching consensus of how we should do that. But since I guess it is linked to the delegate at the end of the day, they would have the final say. And yeah, I think, you know, this is I think a big use case of like how Eden delegates and chief delegates can work within the Pomelo grant framework to extend and extend their allocation that they're getting through Eden, but then also tie their reputation and accountability to to the public grant that's on on behalf of supporting a community, an open public community.
Cool. Sounds great. Chuck, would you like to share something?
Yeah, Felix, if you're right, you're giving 100% of the funds raised to the Eden Fractal. Like you have to, like you're the legal entity who's going to be accepting those funds from Pomelo. You're going to have to pay tax on that, right? You can't really say that you're going to. I mean, you can, but you're going to have to move 100% of the funding through to the account. I mean, if you're going to keep what you've written there as your word, you're going to have to move 100% through your funnel, but then you're going to have to pay individual tax on it to your government, likely.
Right. And regulations still unclear here in the United States with that. But I do have an LLC form to handle that. And
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm just wondering, like, if you were going to, I mean, it might be better to say that you're going to put through, everything after expenses or something like that. Then it's a little, because there is that question whenever it's funneling through, there are expenses in that funneling process. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
To say that you're going to move 100% through, it might not look plausible, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah. And I think I appreciate that, because that's looking through the lens of a very technical and basically, defining what the words say. So yeah, my idea too is, and so yeah, that's something very much I need to, think about more. But also too, I think the whole idea with the, so yeah, maybe I rechange the words or put like another disclaimer that, maybe, after taxes are calculated and figured out and transparently made available, then
even just the expenses, I think after expenses, all surplus funds will be moved to the account or something like that. That sounds more reasonable.
Right.
Could Vlad or some guy in Russia receive the funds and then give it to Pomelo so that Felix doesn't have to pay taxes?
I'm not in Russia.
Okay, I'm in Colombia. I'm happy to do it.
I am in Switzerland, happy to do it.
Yeah.
So this is something I'd have to like learn, but yeah, this is a great conversation, because this is still I'm green on this when it comes to taxes and figuring that out.
Can I maybe say something? Okay, sorry, I have not raised my hand, but I am the precedent here. I have given 600 to Eden Fractal and 1,500 to EOSB's Jesse Jaffe. And how I have made that, thanks to the funds that I have received into Pomelo. And I was in fear that I will not be accepted with Pomelo. And I am accepted on season 3 for MindWeb.io, the 3rd time in a row. So the funds that I have gave, to be very clear here, I have not gave those funds to say, hey guys, I deserve all the respect because I have gave the funds. I gave the funds because I want to collaborate with the people. So because I collaborate with the other project like Eden Fractal, like EOSB Swarms, that's perceived correctly by Pomelo. That means when you have a grant on Pomelo, guys, you have the right to give funds to other Pomelo grant if you collaborate with this project. But if you don't collaborate with this project, that could be seen as sponsoring, and sponsoring is not permitted on Pomelo. You have not the right to sponsor someone else with your Pomelo grant, because the donators that give funds to your grant, they can see that like stolen the funds and give that to someone else. But if you give the funds and you collaborate with, that's okay. Now about the taxes, I have an accountant for my LLC, and I am in Switzerland. And Switzerland and US, that's basically fast the same. So I have asked about what happened for me if I give funds to someone, and if you give funds and you collaborate, you have expenses when you collaborate with someone. You will also do your work. So that's okay, and that's not a lot of funds. That's not 5,000 or 10,000 EOS. We don't speak about that here. So that's relatively low, and it's all about collaboration. So if you go into this mindset of collaboration, it's okay. It's okay. So the fact that Felix has created now a Pomelo grant for Eden Fractal, that's nice. That's very smart. And if people can also give to this grant, that's nice. If you collaborate with.
Patrick, you mentioned the expenses that go into that. Then you mentioned a value, but not a percentage. Like, but what's the percentage that you would think is a reasonable expense that goes into the process of moving funds through Pomelo?
Indeed, all the funds that I give to Eden Fractal and to EOSB Swarms, I am doing mind map for them. I am tracking the data analytics for EOSB Swarms. For the moment, there are active swarms made by Yves Larose, myself, and by Wire. We have active
So
swarms.
I mean, I'm just wondering. I'm just inquiring about what a realistic percentage is for a grant owner to take off the grant for expenses.
Well, one of the things that's coming to mind though, Chuck, when it comes to that is some of those expenses will be recouped. Let's say I throw in 100% of those funds. Those expenses can be recouped though by I'm also participating in this public good, and by receiving those funds, I could start to through the recycling of I have to earn it though, right? It's not just coming back to me. So if I earn that through the Eden Fractal, then I could take those funds and then use that as an expense. And I think also being transparent with that can also help with the transparency is key when it comes to the government stuff and tax stuff. I'm very much like, hey, I'm not going to be and saying that, I don't know if I should say this in a bad way, but like I'm not going to let the government fuck us. Like at the end of the day, regulation, if they want to regulate,
need your consent.
Okay, but you're in Canada though, I think, Chuck, and here in the States it's a little different. I'm not if they want to regulate us, then they need to be on the blockchain as well. That's kind of where I stand, and we'll hold firm, but also doing things as compliant as we need to. But I'm not scared of the government because we're not doing anything wrong.
You do anything wrong. Anything wrong.
Okay, guys, we have several hands up, so it's probably best to give a chance. I think I raised my hand first, so I'll go first quickly. Just share some thoughts about this. So Patrick was saying with Nova Crypto, he donated from his Pomelo grant, and as Patrick explained, that seemed to work out well. I also did the same thing with Eden Creators too. I received a bit Pomelo grant, and I sent that all to the Eden Fractal account. And so I suppose anybody can do it. Eden Creators and Nova Crypto are two different things. So it's great that Felix is doing it for Eden Fractal, but I think anybody could do it with any account potentially. I'm not exactly sure it works. And then another thing that I think is helpful to mention too, perhaps two things quickly. I think it might be best to fund developers directly rather than funding the prize pool, so to speak, for the Eden Fractal. I mean, I think it's good to fund the prize pool to an extent, but what I'm thinking might be best for the Eden Fractal is to continue just doing 100 EOS per week as a distribution. We've spoken before about potentially moving up to 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever if we raise more funding. But I think, and going back to the government thing, when I spoke with Dan Larimer about this, like, I don't know, a month ago or so, and asked him some questions about it, and also Gregory Wexler at the Practically meeting. And they were talking about how I was asking them, like, is there legal risk, basically? And they've thought about this a lot from giving out a lot of EOS. And the general impression I got is that if we stay under $15,000 worth of EOS sent out per year, then that reduces liability for the group. At least in the US, I think you can send up to $15,000 per year as a gift, and then you don't have to like account for that and stuff. I'm not sure about it, but that's how I understand. And then another thing too, during last week's discussion, James Smart joined, and he suggested that we only do EOS distributions for 1 year, starting from the first event, the first Eden Fractal event, which was 2 months ago now, and then we transition that into just using the Eden Respect. And at that point, perhaps the Eden Respect is tradable after 1 year. So that might be something that we integrate into the upcoming Eden Contribute Agreement, perhaps on after August 6th, as we discussed. Dan Larimer and the Fractal team are coming out that soon. So I'd be curious to hear what people think about that, about just funding, staying at 100 EOS per week, essentially, funding developers like Vlad and so forth directly to help build tools. And then after 1 year, we end the EOS distributions and go straight to just Eden Respect distributions. So I'll put that out there. And then also, I think Jorge or Hernan had their hands raised up next. I'm not sure who was next. And of course, I'd be curious if anybody has any thoughts about this too. But yeah, please go, Hernan, I think, or whoever said that.
Yeah, I just, can you hear me okay, guys? Because I'm thinking my own.
Yeah, yep, we can hear you.
My comms are shit. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, very good.
Your headphones are okay.
Great. So yeah, also I want to raise a point. I think in case of Felix Pomelo grant, this is a great initiative. So congrats on that, Felix. I'll be looking forward to supporting that. And together with that, it's also important that we kind of we also explore the probability of that being the possibility for Eden delegates to kind of increase their own holdings by creating a pomelogram, voting for themselves, and then utilizing the matching pool to get more funds. Which, if this is for, of course, like Eden Fractal or some good proposal, that could be good. But I think there's also potential loophole there. If you guys, think we all can appreciate that kind of scenario. So something to watch out for.
Thank you, Hernan. Yeah, I'll let Jorge go. He's got his hand raised.
Yeah, guys. Now, talking more seriously, what about considering? I'm not aware of the legality in the United States, but what about considering starting a foundation for this Eden Fractal, so that anyone can donate to this foundation, and we can further more Felix's vision of allowing people who is volunteering his time here to work full-time and get a full-time salary from his contributions. Just an idea.
Yeah, thank you, Jorge. Yeah, I said that in the breakout room, but I guess it would be good to say it again here. Yeah, my goal with this Eden Fractal is to get us enough funding to where our top contributors could make this their full-time effort, and like hopefully it can provide enough funding to be able to where they could do this full-time. So with that all being said too, there's still a lot of questions. Luckily I've talked to a really great CPA that he seems to be pretty on top of like the latest crypto regulations that's going on here in the States. I had like an hour call with him. It was one of our first calls that we had, and he was telling me things about regulation that was going down in Florida of like I forgot, it was one case where it was like about like dividends, and so then the guy, I think he opened up a case against the IRS. So it's very interesting. He was very knowledgeable, so it's going to be good. It's going to be great discussions to have with him on this as well. So we'll see how well this grant does. To touch a point on what Hernan said, yeah, Pomelo's like, I didn't know that until I heard Pomelo say that you can donate to yourselves. But I think the key there though is like you can donate to yourselves, but if you're the only sole donor, you're not going to get much from the matching pool. It's all about the matching pool is really driven by the number of individual donors, and so yeah. But you can maximize your delegate funding though. It would make sense that way because
of course. The larger part of the Pomelo pitch is to actually pitch it to the rest of the community. Get people support that, then I think yourself supporting that, I think
seems like maybe you're breaking up, Hernan.
Current account of your Eden delegacy.
Yeah, Hernan, that was we got like very little. I see a little green box around your thing, but we're not hearing anything.
Does anybody have any thoughts about what I suggested before about, I saw Vlad said transition ASAP to only Eden distributions. So as I mentioned before, James Mart recommended that we switch to only distributing Eden Respect rather than Eden Respect and EOS after 1 year, which would be 10 months from now because we already started 2 months ago. Does anybody have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, so real quick on your thoughts, Dan, with the 100 EOS, and well, so we still have to, we as an Eden ƒractal have a couple priorities first. Like, so for those who aren't aware that's here, one of the priorities is first getting a user agreement that everyone who participates has to sign. And so this user agreement is going to be something that's being provided by the ƒractal team. But once we get that though, before we use it, I'm also going to get with a lawyer that I know, and we're going to be going through it together to make sure and get his input and opinion on making sure that to understand it better, and then to see if this user agreement will, protect us from liability. And then when it comes to, so once those processes are put into play, I would like to introduce that. And then we have also the consensus, like reaching consensus on like proposals, very similar to what's happening over on the ƒractal process. The addendum, where we basically have 2 rooms, that would be the 2 pools where you have the incentivization pool for the first round for participating, and then the second pool, which is for the higher distributions. And so that's what I like. It's nice to have the 2 pools, because then also I think it would be nice to have the flexibility of being able to kind of change week to week depending on how much, like let's say if you wanted to have like a high turnout event, you could put more pools 1 week to go out into the incentivization pool to try to bring and onboard new users. If there was some very heavy contributions, maybe the 1 week, then you would put a little bit more pool of funds into the second pool, where it would reward those who put in some good contributions so that they could get paid for their efforts. But those are just a couple of thoughts on that. And then as far as Vlad with the proposal of 10 months, 10 months is a while. The ƒractal, hopefully, I'm very open to exploring that as well. We'll see what happens, when the ƒractal chain launches, right? Because then that could also start to maybe potentially add value to the Eden Respect token that we are also acquiring right now too, or accumulating. And so then there may not be as much of a need for EOS, though I still think that there is value in liquidity pairs between probably the respect tokens and potentially other currencies. And then this could also, it's supposed to be interoperable with all other crypto, like blockchains and crypto. So yeah, it's very much still very early and still don't know how everything will play out, but 10 months, we'll see. I'm not opposed to it.
Cool. Sounds good. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, Felix. And I'll just add quickly that I think EOS has an opportunity to build software similar to Ƒractal software, but build non-EOS.io, and we already have quite a bit of open source contracts. So I think that we can form mutual respect with the Ƒractal Genesis once their tokens go liquid in like 9 months or so, or once our tokens go liquid in 10 months or so as well. But yeah, I think that what Vlad is building, like, it'd be helpful to advocate for the EOS network to help fund Ƒractal software and Eden Ƒractal software for EOS and for EOS.io and so forth. And also Vlad said, losing 10 months worth of time growing the Eden LP, weekly EOS could start accumulating in the pool. Plus, if market will value Eden token, the LP becomes a budget for this. Yeah, so I mean, I think, I know, well, the Genesis Ƒractal had a 1 year time when the Eden, or rather when the Genesis Ƒractal respect tokens aren't tradable, which I think is mostly for reducing liability, legal caution, and so forth, which is why I think that I was leaning towards that as well. But it's also an option too, if we think that it's best to make it liquid sooner. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. But I see Chuck had hands up first, I think, and then Marco and Jorge.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. I hate circling back and rediscovering the wheel all the time, but I just want to know what the purpose of this is, of the Eden Ƒractal. Is this to create a community of people that's going to be transitioning into Ƒractal once the Ƒractal software is built, or is this to improve Eden? Because it's really unclear to me, especially with the wording that we're using, and always referring back to what Ƒractal is doing. It's really unclear to me of what the mission of this is, because I see value for Eden in the sense that we're all meeting and we're all talking and we're all introducing each other. I see value in the software that's being written, the little plugins and such. But I don't know what the value is for Eden, if all of this value is essentially going to be going to Ƒractal once it's built. And that's my question. But it'd be very easy for somebody to interpret that as the goal of this with the way that the discussions go, because everything refers back to Ƒractal. And I don't know if that's a productive thing for Eden. And why is this? What does this have to do with Eden if it's essentially a way to bring Eden members onto Ƒractal? I don't want to be confrontational here, but I'm just wondering exactly what the point of this is. Whether this is an R&D circle for Ƒractal, or whether this is bringing Ƒractal's tech and mechanisms onto Eden and using it here.
Ƒractal is Superman going back in time to save
different,
not something that Eden is very nimble enough to do.
Yeah, I'd always like to answer that too, if I may. Thank you for asking. And yeah, so the way I see it is that Eden Ƒractal is helping Eden and EOS, and it's using the Ƒractal process that the Ƒractal team is pioneering, but it's specifically to help Eden and EOS. A way that James Martin and some other people have described it is like we use Discord to help EOS, or we use Telegram to help EOS and so forth. It's just tools that we use to help Eden, tools that we use to cooperate and coordinate and so forth. So the way I see it is like this Ƒractal is specifically to help Eden and EOS, and then we can be agnostic about whatever tooling works best to help us help Eden and EOS. We have tooling built on EOS and EOS.io that I'm advocating that we further build. I think it's for the best of Eden and for Fractally, if EOS pioneers a Fractally process that's competitive with Fractally, like a friendly competition where we're forming mutual respect. But I think that for the best of all communities, it's best for the EOS community to further develop a software that does similar things to the Fractally software, but does on EOS and does it with our own variations with the unique efficacies of the Eden and the EOS software. So I hope that answers the question, but basically like the Fractal, you can have a Fractal for anything. You can call it something different if you want. You can call it a DAO or whatever, but it's just the way that the DAO coordinates in this Fractal process. So it makes sense to call it Fractally or Fractal, but it's to specifically help Eden and EOS. And then I'm aiming to also use this to help launch many more Fractals and communities and DAOs and so forth on EOS or on Fractally or wherever it works best, to just help empower communities for all sorts of different helpful purposes. I hope that clarifies it, Chuck. I'd be curious to hear your response. I know that Jorge and Marco have their hands up too, so I don't want to go too much in front of them, but I'd be very curious to hear Chuck's thoughts and also Jorge and Marco.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for the response, Dan. I'd just be really cautious about. I mean, we're really there's a lot of funding opportunities around the network, but I would be really cautious about using Palmetto too boldly. Anyway, it's a perception thing. I would just invite everybody to think about how the rest of the network views Eden and its use of Palmetto. It seems like we're dipping in a lot of different directions, and I would just encourage us to be thoughtful about that. I'm done.
Thanks, Chuck. And just to quickly respond, I think that Eden and this Eden election process, Eden Fractal process, it's the most helpful thing for EOS. It's like the most essential. It's the most essential form of a public good, because this is what communities need and this is what people need in general, these processes to cooperate. So I think that we should advocate for the EOS community to support the Eden election process and the Eden Fractal process as much as possible.
Marco?
Wow, it was a little while. My question goes back a little further. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
All right. Transitioning to an Eden-only token topic. I got into blockchain not because I was just interested in. I was interested when I first heard Bitcoin, but I did it in part to write a thesis for aviation with the expansion of the next generation airspace that involved all the world and so many private and public organizations into what was attempted to be one living document. The largest project I ever encountered as far as so many people and how much innovation was going on. Levels of innovation to predict innovation. So every airport that got a new technology was a testing ground for all the rest of the world. Aviation is just that fast. Blockchain is faster. I believed that I could tie in blockchain to airline rewards. Unfortunately, the airlines at one point consolidated to two alliances. All of them where their databases distribute how flights are routed to two alliances for the idea of we were talking about regulations. So, so imagine you're flying over Europe, the company is angry, they suddenly decide to change or ban flights. Now you're in flight and you have to adjust to that, or when you land, there's going to be a big problem. So I believed in blockchain of a distributed database that would empower those people operating in this live thing rather than, but anyway, so in looking at it that way, looking at it like airline miles, when we have something like Fractally and even Eden, even though Eden is a 3 months on process, to connect multiple cryptos, I believe is the spirit of what it's doing. Yes, the main crypto, the NFTs that we're doing, maybe transition to Eden token only, but also have NFTs that still tie into the history of those tokens like EOS that contribute to it. I believe Alien Worlds Fractal is looking at doing it that way. And I believe that's what the new minds that have a handle on this tech that are still being educated will see. So just keep that in mind, I figure. Oh, and I do have briefings, Pomelo, if anybody cares to look into that. That would expand upon reporting this information and stuff like that between Fractal and Eden.
Cool. Thanks, Marco. Thanks very much. I guess Jorge's next.
Yeah. Several things. First, to answer Chuck, the way I see it is very different from the perception that we are extracting value from EOS to give it to Fractally. On the contrary, we are using their latest technologies and innovations to bring them to Eden Fractal. And the way I see it, Eden was a initial version of a decentralized governance system, but it had a lot of problems. There is still a lot of noise. We even to this day see chief delegates creating a lot of drama on the Telegram channels. Instead, here in this Eden Fractal process, we have a much higher portion of the community doing constant weekly contributions with minimum drama and being compensated for that. So it's a much better system of governance and distributing funds, and it's still being optimized. The Fractal team last week proposed an addendum to their white paper that, to my perspective, did a big leap in reducing noise and tuning the ranking of who is doing what, who is contributing what to the community. So it's actually the opposite from my perspective, it's actually the opposite of that perception. We are bringing value from Fractally to EOS. And yes, it can be a feedback system in which whatever happens here serves as a learning for them. But the things they are doing, they are in these mechanisms of Fractal process, they are one step ahead. They are, they are going much faster than we are going here. So that on the first point. On the second point, which is Dan's question, I haven't thought really deep about Vlad's proposition of only moving to Edens and not giving EOS to the people. But at first sight, I happen to like it. And the reason is that if we have all that EOS in a liquidity pool, and that liquidity pool is tied to an account whose voting power is given to block producers that are benevolent to this process, then we complete another whole feedback mechanism in which block producers also have an incentive to empower and encourage this process. That on the one side. I would like to think further about it, but I think if implemented, 10 months is extremely long time. I think this process should be decided within at least one order of magnitude shorter time. That means about 1 month, having 4 meetings at the most to think about it, to receive feedback from the community, and then try to implement it. And the third reason in favor of that proposal is that Eden, I mean, the Eden token has the quality of being backed by labor, by contribution. So every Eden that has ever been minted exists because somebody did something within the community. And that, I think, makes it very valuable. And that's not the same with EOS. So it will be nice to decouple them somehow. In that regard, I'll go for Vlad's proposition of paying people within these meetings only with EOS and leaving EOS within liquidity pools. So that's it for my word. And thank you guys for listening.
Thank you very much, Jorge. Before you go, Felix, I just want to say I have to leave in 7 minutes. Would anybody like to be the host when I leave?
You can make me host, but and I can stick around for a little bit longer, but I'll have to cut out probably like 30 minutes after.
Okay, cool. I'll make you the host, and then
or we can wrap it up in 7 minutes soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So some quick thoughts. Yeah. So I think it's important to clarify Eden. Yeah. I think Eden and the Eden fractal is independent. We're not dependent on Fractally, and we're not dependent on the EOS network. Now we are providing value to the EOS network by using the EOS currency. And because they also, they showed support by donating to the Eden treasury, there's loyalty there. Now, the purpose of being independent, though, is so that we have the flexibility to move. We don't need to be dependent on any other organization. And that's why I'm such a big proponent on when we're discussing the Eden treasury, we do not need to be blowing it, assuming that we're going to get more money. We need to act as if we're not going to get any money. And then we show through our independence that we're a capable organization to receive more funding. Now, I believe in the EOS network, but if the EOS network doesn't want us to continue to support us, there will be other cryptocurrencies that will. So that being said, that's where I stand. I think that's where a lot of us stand. I'm very open to seeing where I may be wrong, but this is how I feel. And we'll see how things go.
Thanks, Felix. Yeah, I'll also just say real quick before I have to go, thank you everybody so much for joining. I hope everybody had a great time, and looking forward to our next week's Eden Fractal meeting at the same time, and all the other great Eden and EOS events throughout the week. There's the event that Chris and Gabriel have been hosting on every Tuesday, which I think they're continuing to do at 14 UTC, and the Eden Town Hall on 16 UTC, and a bunch of other events that I hope to see you all at. But yeah, thanks everybody so much. And then just to briefly answer Chuck's question, are we independent from Eden? The short answer is yes. So, I mean, to be a DAO, you have to be independent, you have to be autonomous. And if we were dependent upon Eden, then that would make us not autonomous. So we're very aligned with Eden. We're mostly Eden members, and like our goal is to help Eden, generally speaking, like help Eden and help EOS. That's what our goal and our focus is. But we're not dependent, and we have to be independent, where if Eden or EOS, for whatever reason, didn't want to support us or whatever, then like Felix said, we could go elsewhere, or I mean, we could just help each other. And that's the way that all DAOs have to be, independent. But that being said, I think that Eden and EOS will certainly see a lot of value coming from the Eden Fractal. And there's a great symbioticism. I probably said that word right. It's this synergy, and then also symbiotic relationship. Yes.
Yeah, and we are Eden. Like, we are Eden. I think we are Eden. I'm gonna live with that, and everyone can to each their own. But as far as I'm concerned, we are Eden. We are representatives. We have chief delegates here. We have delegates here. Whatever, if it fractures, we're still Eden. We're the Eden, in my opinion, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you for actually correcting me, Felix. So we're the Eden community, and the Eden community is using both the Eden on EOS election process and the Eden fractal process. So I agree. In some sense, we can't be independent of Eden because we are Eden. But then the other sense, Eden Fractal is independent of Eden on EOS, but we're all Eden community members, if that makes sense.
Well, the way I see it is that this process of ranking contributions allows a mechanism for better choosing of delegates. So delegates can see people can see what the level of contributions of each member has been, and according to that, choose better delegates. So yeah, there is a symbiosis between Eden and Eden Fractally.
Totally.
Symbiosis, that's the word. Thank you, Jorge.
Thank you, Jorge.
I think on also on a conceptual basis, right? On Eden, we are electing people who will represent us the best, right? Moving forward. And we are using the fractals to recognize past contributions that those delegates or the members have already done. So it's kind of the Eden election, I'd see it like as something as representational elections move for something moving forward for the next quarter. And then the fractal and distributed respect being used to recognize contributions being made. So I think I do see them as totally, a different concept even.
Yeah, I see them as like as two different functionalities of Eden.
Here's the newest Eden member for you guys.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Hello, new Eden member. Welcome.
Yeah, baby. Nice to meet
you. We'll do as soon as he can attest to the bylaws. We'll sign him in.
It's the new Hernan.
Yeah.
The youngest Eden Fractal participant. You don't have to be an Eden member to be a participant.
He love Eden Fractal, I think. Yeah, baby. You love Eden Fractal, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. You love.
Okay. You got bored of meeting us. Sorry.
But yeah, guys, I mean, we could wrap it up too, unless we have any other further discussion. I mean, I do have quite a lot I got to get to with my other job, but I am happy to stick around if we have any other points we'd like to hit.
I think we have.
I guess. Well, okay, yeah. There's I also encourage too. So we're looking to introduce the team functionality here soon. After we've got priorities. The first one is user agreement. That one should be coming here in the first. Ideally, we'll want to have that implemented in like the first 2 weeks of August, and then from there, then we can start to really start to we have weekly probably the next step would probably be the proposal system where we can go into that in detail, but later, but also with the teams coming, right? If you find synergies with other members in this Eden Fractal, set up meetings. I know that there's several other members here. We have meetings going outside of this as well, kind of discussing next steps. So that's how I also see teams unfolding eventually too here within the Eden Fractal. As it gets bigger, you'll team up with people that you have similar, like you're working on the similar things, and then you would pair as a team, and then you would earn mutual respect for the Eden respect token that we're doing here. And teams is very interesting. It's still something that we're like learning and trying to grasp.